Dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack and flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yo, what's good, original crew, man? We're back today, man. We got another true crime documentary. Today's visual, he helped them get pregnant, then became her lover. The murder of John Tokuhara. You want to go say that?
I was gonna say Tokuhara, but it's probably Tokuhara.
No, I don't know. Like
Tokuhara.
I try.
Yeah.
Cause I want to say the
right.
Hara is Hara.
Yeah.
But the first name John
Tokuhara sounds. Or we'll see.
Is it Tuku?
I'm not gonna get stuck on it.
Tokuhara sounds that flows though.
That's
Tuku.
Nice. That's cute.
Tuku.
Yeah.
Oh, would you name your child Tuku? Or give him a nickname Tuku? I would have to see the origin of it. I wonder what Tuku means though. If it got like a dome, let's see.
What
I just like it. Special, unique, particular. Can also refer to outstanding or exceptional qualities. I mean, it's right there. See, it means special. That's a good dope nickname. That's a dope. Hey, you gotta put meaning behind your kids, man.
That's right.
Put meaning behind the kids. Bless them in this world. Let them know from the jump you are special. Even though I wouldn't name them, I don't think I would.
It's just a nickname.
But the nickname, for sure, could let them know you are special. You are unique. You are particular and outstanding. I'm just playing. Hey. Make sure y'all check out the links in the description box.
Down below.
You already know where to go. If you want the first part, you got to do it. Check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's visuals.
Like it on the thumbs up.
I like the name, though. I really like the name, man. Let's go. Let's check it out. Let's see what's about. You ready?
I'm ready.
In January 2022, a man dressed in a bucket-style hat, sunglasses, and 2 scarves entered an independent healthcare clinic in Waipahu, Hawaii. 48 seconds later, the man left. 47-year-old John Tokuhara would be found dead inside. Despite what should have been a wealth of evidence, security cameras, shell casings left at the scene, even the hat that the assailant wore left behind, this is a case that seemed to prove only one.
He left his hat? No. I thought he had the head on when he left it. Did he not have the head on?
Wait. Okay.
I'll just play
that the assailant wore left behind. This is a case that seemed to prove only one thing. That things were
he shows. I thought maybe we tripping.
Behind. This is a case that seemed to prove only one thing. That things were more complicated than they appeared. Proving the identity of this killer would be a difficult, nearly impossible task. Hi there, I'm Kevin, and welcome to Just Thought Lounge. Today we're taking a look at a lesser known but fascinating case out of Hawaii. This is the story of an investigation and prosecution that caught many people by surprise. It developed from a straightforward case. All signs seemed to point in the same direction. But then as more details came to light, new evidence emerged, existing evidence was questioned, and the picture of what really happened became far less clear. Let's take a look. The town of Waipahu is in Honolulu County, Hawaii. It is located along the northern shore of both Middle Lock and West Lock of Pearl Harbor. Once the location of a sugarcane plantation, the town on the island of Oahu is now home to about 40,000 residents. It's a short drive to the picturesque Ewa Beach. The morning of Thursday, January 13th, 2022, was warm with clear skies in Waipahu. Around 8 a.m. that morning, Lily Tokuhara took a drive out to check on her son, John. 47-year-old John Tokuhara had owned and operated a healthcare business in Waipahu for nearly 20 years. The previous evening, John had told his mother that he planned to drop by and pick up some dinner that she had made him, but John never turned up. When Lily arrived at the acupuncture and healthcare clinic, she saw her son's white Tacoma pickup truck parked near to the doorway. She entered the office through the back door, which was unlocked. The front door, which faced Waipahu Depot Street, had not been in use for at least 6 months. It had been secured with a chain. Inside, Lily spotted her son. John was lying on the floor of his office, a pool of blood by his head. He was unresponsive. A call was placed to emergency services immediately, though the distraught mother found it too difficult to attempt medical aid. It was far too late. Officer John Minturn of the Honolulu Police Department was the first to arrive on scene. He found one spent shell casing on the office floor, a .22 caliber. Later, 2 additional casings were also located, one underneath John Tokuhara and another behind the refrigerator. John's autopsy later determined that his cause of death was a gunshot to the head. He had in fact been shot no less than 4 times. It was a brutally efficient and heartless killing. Multiple headshots delivered to the face suggested a crime of passion.
What?
Furthermore, a significant amount of cash was located near to John in his office, approximately $4,000 in large bills. If the murderer had been aware of the money, they had clearly not been interested in it.
Facts.
The murder appeared personal, yet the method quick and callous. John Tokuhara was unmarried. He did not have any children. He did, however, have a very close-knit family and loving longtime friends. He was particularly close with his mother, Lily, and was a loving uncle to his sister's 2 boys. John had loved everything involving the ocean, including fishing, surfing, and paddling. After earning a master's degree in Chinese medicine and acupuncture, he had opened and independently ran the Tokuhara Acupuncture and Healthcare Clinic. Friends spoke of him adoringly. A staple in Waipahu for nearly 20 years, John's murder came as a horrible shock to the entire community.
This tragedy has really brought the community together, I think, in Waipahu. And so, the community, our friends, everybody has just rallied together and shown so much support for the family.
He's an acupuncturist, and so he's a healer, and he's helped so many people in the community.
He had friends in so many different circles, and he was just someone that was just loved. He gave back to his community, gave scholarships.
He's all about the people. He's all about the community, and you guys just stripped that away. But now he's going to take the love we have for him or the love he had for us away. God bless us all.
It took some time for investigators to put together all the pieces of John Tokuhara's life. No potential suspects emerged after speaking with friends and family. John had been widely admired. No one could point to a motive. Investigators began constructing a timeline from the night before John was found, tracing his last communications and movement. 2 cell phones, both of which belonged to John, were located on the desk in his office. One of these devices was not in service and seemed to only function when connected to Wi-Fi. Investigators were told that the Wi-Fi only phone was only used to play the game Pokemon Go. That is exactly what John appeared to be doing the night before.
But it's only worse when it's connected to Wi-Fi. But he only plays Pokemon Go on the phone. Doesn't make sense a little bit to me. And I'm not speculating anything. I'm like, that just doesn't make sense, Because Pokemon Go, you have to go out. But if it only work on Wi-Fi, you limit,
The application was opened on his Wi-Fi phone at about 5:40 p.m. and never closed. The phone powered off at 8:45. The battery had depleted. Whether John was actively engaged with the game for 3 hours or was killed while he played was uncertain. After speaking with John's mother, Lily, detectives learned that she had last been in contact with her son at just after 6 p.m. He had sent her a text from his main device, making the arrangements to collect dinner. He did not, as we know, arrive as planned. There was no further activity on that device after 6:18 p.m. With this time frame in mind, security camera footage from the area surrounding the acupuncture clinic was collected to see if anything or anyone suspicious had been captured. At about 3 minutes before 6 o'clock, a white four-door Silverado pickup truck with Hawaii plates was captured turning north onto Waipahu Depot Street from Farrington Highway. After a handful of quick turns in the area, the truck passed the intersection a few streets over from the clinic and escaped from view. However, from the next junction over, an individual emerged moments later and continued on foot towards Waipahu Depot Street, approaching the acupuncture clinic from the back. The person is wearing a light-colored bucket-style hat, dark-colored sunglasses, as well as a head covering and scarf.
Nice.
They carried a brown shopping bag. The person entered John's office at about 6:16 p.m., roughly the same time that the last activity was noted on John's main cell phone. Only 48 seconds later, the same individual was shown leaving. No one else was spotted entering or leaving the building until Lily arrived the next morning at 8 a.m. As the white Silverado drove past the businesses on Waipahu Depot Street, the front license plate was visible. A still photograph taken from the video surveillance, enhanced and examined by law enforcement, seemed to show that the first 3 characters in the license plate appeared to be letters, and the last 3 characters appeared to be numerals. An exact read of the plate was impossible. There did not appear to be any distinguishing marks on the Silverado. There are no items visible in the truck bed, but the vehicle was nonetheless the best available lead. The HPD's Strategic Enforcement Detail found 53 Silverado pickup trucks registered in the state that matched the information they had. 4 doors, white in color, likely a 2014 to 2016 model, and a license plate that they believed had 3 letters followed by 3 numbers. Investigators claimed that they were then able to exclude 52 of the 53 vehicles on their list. According to police records, detectives did so systematically. They requested photographs, visited and viewed the trucks in person, as well as considered the location of their ownership. Process of elimination left only one possibility as a match to the one captured on the security footage. The final remaining Silverado was registered to a 34-year-old ex-client of John's, a man named Eric Thompson. Eric, who ran his own successful contracting business, had seen John for treatment of carpal tunnel some years earlier. It was a connection between the two, but that was all. Eric, married to his high school sweetheart and a loving father to their 3-year-old daughter, was not exactly a likely suspect. What motive would the young contractor have had to murder a man that had treated his pain years before? When detectives sifted through the correspondence on John's main cell phone, they found thousands of messages, over 5,600 in 1 month alone, with a woman named Joyce Thompson. The messages between Joyce and John were extremely intimate. The two exchanged nude photos, videos, and explicit messages. Their romantic relationship appeared to have gone on for some time, but had ended abruptly nearly 7 months prior to John's death, when Joyce's husband, Eric, found out about their relationship. Based on their exchanges, it seemed that John had been far more committed to the relationship than Joyce from the start. He had been the first one to say, "I love you," and continued to express his feelings frequently. Over a period spanning from mid-May to late July 2021, John pressed Joyce to transition their relationship from an affair to a longer-term commitment. For her part, Joyce was certainly a willing participant, but she expressed some concern. She told John that she would continue to see him, but that she would not leave her husband. Eventually, Joyce grew worried over the secrecy of their affair and the detriment it could have to her marriage. In July, she messaged John about Eric's discovery of their affair. Eric confronted his wife over a late-night trip from the house she made while he was away for work. He had spotted her on their home security cameras, sneaking out of the house at 1 a.m. Confessing to the entire affair, Joyce agreed to end things with John, and she and Eric decided to take steps to salvage their marriage. Joyce and Eric Thompson met at Kalani High School in East Honolulu and were married on January 14, 2017, the day of their 13th anniversary. The ceremony was held at a neighbor's beachfront estate and attended by a large gathering of family and friends. The young couple made a move to Kailua, a roughly 30-minute drive from Waipahu. Together, they had shared major milestones: Eric's graduation from the University of Hawaii and the birth of their only child, a daughter, 2 years before John's murder. From a distance, the couple's marriage and their family life appeared nearly perfect. Indeed, it was the couple's desire to have a baby that led Joyce to seek John's services. An old high school teacher had introduced Eric and Joyce to John and suggested he could help them. Joyce initially began seeing him for treatment for both fertility and back pain. Following a heartbreaking miscarriage, the couple was trying everything they could to get pregnant. At that time, Eric believed that John Tokuhara was helping them both. Indeed, he had been. Though after the birth of their daughter, Joyce's appointments continued. And her relationship with John, it seems, grew into something more. With these revelations coming to light, both Joyce and Eric became persons of interest.
On 1/13/2022, we initiated a murder investigation for the victim, John Tokuhara. During the course of this ongoing investigation for approximately 3 weeks, we have determined that there is a link between the victim and the suspect, and that this was not a random act. We have discovered that the victim was in a romantic relationship with a female. We now consider this female and another male to be persons of interest. Search warrants have been executed on their residence, vehicle, and person. Both persons of interest have been uncooperative and retained attorneys.
What?
Eric Thompson left his house in his white 2014 Silverado at about 5:20 p.m. on the evening of John's murder. The truck drove in the direction of the highway. There are not enough cameras along the route from the Thompsons' house in Kailua to the acupuncture clinic in Waipahu to create an unbroken trail of Eric's movements. If this was, in fact, his Silverado that was spotted on the Depot Street at around 6 p.m., though the drive time aligns almost exactly. Data on Google Maps showed that it would take a vehicle between 35 to 55 minutes, depending on traffic, to reach the area of the clinic from the entrance of the highway if they departed at 5:20 p.m. The Chevrolet Silverado is first seen on video surveillance in the Waipahu area at 5:57 p.m., which is 37 minutes after Eric is seen leaving his driveway. Neighbors' cameras showed Eric pulling back into his driveway at 6:47. After returning home, detectives believed that Eric took steps to destroy any evidence of the crime he had just committed. Less than an hour later, the same camera captured lights from a fire in the back of the Thompsons' property. The glow of the fire in his backyard lasted about 5 minutes. He also left the house once more that night. On that second trip, there is an item visible in the bed of the pickup truck that was not there earlier that night. A crossbox, usually used to store tools. The box was still visible when Eric returned again, roughly an hour later, at 10:43. A search of the Thompson home found little to directly link either Eric or Joyce to the murder. But where direct evidence was lacking, there was an expanding pile of circumstantial clues that couldn't be ignored. A bucket in the backyard sitting inside a wheelbarrow both showed burn marks, signs that items had recently been set aflame. In the house, the HPD collected 12 registered firearms, all belonging to Eric Thompson. They also found 2 additional guns. These were unregistered. Of Eric's collection, 2 guns matched the models that had already been determined as the likely murder weapon, .22 caliber rifles. However, testing found that none of these firearms were a match, leading to further speculation as to what could have been in the back of Eric's pickup on his second drive from the house. What they did find were over 1,000 rounds of .22 caliber bullets. There was one final piece of evidence that threatened to either solidify the case against Eric Thompson or destroy it. The light-colored bucket hat worn by the assumed gunman as he entered and exited the clinic. As the shooter crossed Waipahu Depot Street after leaving the clinic, the bucket-style hat is captured falling to the ground. It was left behind by the assailant. The hat sat on the street for 10 minutes or so before a pedestrian spotted it and took it with them.
There you go. But now it's contaminated because the
pedestrian who collected the hat was eventually located. A homeless man who briefly wore the hat himself until reaching his campsite, where he hung the hat up in his tent and never wore it again. After processing the hat, technicians found fibers and a hair. These were processed alongside 2 samples swabbed from the inside of the hat on the rim and the crown. The results were not exactly damning. Eric Thompson could not be excluded as the source of the DNA. On Valentine's Day 2022, Eric Thompson was arrested and charged with second-degree murder and carrying or use of a firearm in the commission of a separate felony. He posted a $1 million bond and prepared for trial.
Mr. Thompson will be entering a plea of not guilty, and we will be proceeding to trial in this case.
When the trial commenced in July 2023, the state's arguments focused heavily on the motive, Joyce's affair with John, and the nature of the murder itself, 4 gunshots to the head, being a personal, anger-fueled attack. They painted a picture of the perfect life and marriage that Eric thought he once had, calling the 34-year-old a controlling perfectionist. Eric worked hard to start a successful business and save for a down payment on a $2 million home. When he found out about his wife Joyce's affair with John Tokuhara, he made her confess to her parents and apologize for the affair.
Over 50. That's minimum control. Oh. Some cultures are controlling like that, though. Like, when you do, like, dirt shit, because it's like an embarrassment thing. Like, you're going to also tell your parents how you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And some of them, like...
That's crazy.
We only did... It got to be a big... You know?
5,600 DMs, direct messages, between John and one of his former clients, Joyce Thompson. And these messages are important because they were very sexual and intimate in nature, including nude photographs and videos. And the messages revealed that Eric found out about the affair not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times to the face. This was personal. To finally get back to that perfect life, he would have to end the life of the man who threatened it all. And as long as John remained alive, Eric Thompson's life would remain imperfect. So he made a plan to finally fix it. But the defendant tried to play how to get away with murder. But he failed. He failed because of the relentless pursuit of HPD watching weeks worth of video surveillance.
When it came time for Eric's defense to present their arguments, a case that had seemed so clear-cut was thrown into disarray, and along with it, the unfailingly positive image of John Tokuhara. It seems that his affair with Joyce Thompson was not the first that John had with another man's wife or partner. Not even close. The defense lined up witnesses to testify to the acupuncturist's previous relationships, which had been the cause of at least one other divorce. His personal life was not the only source of controversy. Alongside text messages on John's phone detailing his romances were indications that he was involved in illegal gambling. According to Eric's defense team, the $4,000 in large bills found at the murder scene and John's betting activities were never properly investigated.
You will hear evidence that John Tokuhara had a track record of cheating, with becoming involved with women who were in relationships, 2,500 messages with another woman. Okay? We didn't follow up on that one. Okay? We didn't follow up on the woman the messages he ghosted. We didn't follow up on the gambling posts. The detectives told witnesses specifically, John was not involved in any gambling. Well, he had a secret life. Eric did not kill John Tokuhara, and there will not be any evidence of it. I strike that. There will be massive reasonable doubt.
John DeMarco told the jury how his ex-wife began an affair with John that led to the dissolution of his marriage. His wife had also been one of John's acupuncture patients. He testified that he has since moved on, remarried, and held no ill will towards John. Indeed, the acupuncturist became like a father figure to their daughter before eventually splitting with DeMarco's ex-wife.
Said kind of like good riddance, you know, he could have her, and I wanted to just focus on my kid's life and myself, so.
While the prosecution maintained that only Eric Thompson had a motive for murder, the defense countered with witnesses that ostensibly would hold an identical motive. Daryl Fujita, whose relationship had also ended as a result of an affair with John, was also called to testify. Police had explored Daryl as a person of interest, but eventually determined he had a tight alibi and there was no evidence linking him to the murder. But he did admit to deleting data from his cell phone before talking to police. He expressed his frustration to have been pulled into the investigation at all.
I mean, I understand why. I think it's ridiculous, but I understand why, yes.
Well, how do you feel about it?
I mean, it's not cool because literally I have nothing to do with this.
Both John DeMarco and Daryl Fujita testified that they had nothing to do with the murder and that they had no reason to want John dead. Each laid the blame for their failed relationships with their ex-partners, not John. After initial bouts of hurt and anger, each placed the experience behind them and moved on. When Eric Thompson took the stand, he testified that after discovering Joyce's affair, he reacted in exactly the same manner. Eric explained.
Would you have him go up there? If you was his lawyer, would you have him take the stand?
No, especially if I know.
Because it could come off as self-incriminating or somewhat.
Yeah.
You know,
but I feel like some people like, no, put me on the stand. It'd be like very like cocky, like this, yeah.
Mm-hmm. The same manner. Eric explained how he and Joyce had approached John with their fertility issues. He had been a help to them both during that time. Eric was dumbfounded when he discovered the affair. After viewing the security tape of his wife sneaking out at night, he could find no innocent explanation.
And I was kind of scratching my head, like why would, where are you going, and like, where's our daughter? I was pissed. I was really disappointed. It just didn't make sense that, like, John helped us through the pregnancy, and I just didn't understand why he would do that if he's just gonna blow it up later. The first couple of days I was thinking, call him, chew him out, but it came to the realization that, I don't think I could have said anything to make things better, and I don't think I could get him to say sorry or feel bad. I mean, what's the point? I think he obviously didn't care about what I thought or my family. So, I just realized that there's just no point.
Joyce agreed to stop seeing John. He worked on trying to forgive her, and over the following months, he said, they were almost back to the same happy place they had been prior to the affair.
I think she was truly sorry for it. She made the effort. She never talked to John again. I came to the realization that the problem was with me and Joyce. It wasn't. I mean, she cut him off, and he was a non-factor after that. I realized I was kind of neglecting her. Sometimes she I think I was taking her for granted.
Eric denied that the Silverado captured driving around Waipahu that night was his, and he flatly denied killing John Tokuhara.
On the right side, you heard the testimony in this case that's a screenshot from a surveillance video of a white truck in Waipahu, correct?
Correct.
Is that your truck?
No.
Yeah. Period. Is that your license plate? Well, were you in any time in Waipahu on January 12th, 2022?
No.
January 12th, 2022 or January 13th, 2022, did you kill John Tokuhara?
No, I didn't.
During cross-examination, Eric's seeming acceptance of the betrayal was scrutinized. He was asked what details he knew of their intimacy. Did his wife say, "I love you"? Did he ever access her phone and view any of the thousands of messages, photos, or videos shared between them?
So she did tell you that she said, "I love you" to John Tokuhara.
She said, yeah, at some points, yeah, they were, yeah. I've seen photos on Joyce's phone, baby photos, family photos.
After discovering the affair, you never looked at her messages between her and John Tokuhara?
No.
You never saw photos on the phone, on Joyce's phone?
Correct.
You never saw videos on Joyce's phone?
Correct, there were no videos.
There were no videos?
I didn't see any videos on her phone.
He looked pissed
because
off
you never
right
looked
there.
at her phone.
Correct, I never looked at her phone.
After the affair ended, Eric testified that the trust in their marriage had been restored. 11 days before the murder, they entered into a post-marital agreement, which stated that Eric would get the house and sole custody of their daughter if they divorced. The prosecutor alleged that Eric made his wife sign the agreement. The defense countered that it was Joyce's idea to prove to her husband that she would not be unfaithful ever again.
She knew that I was never going to leave her.
You said what?
I said, I ain't doing that. I don't care about material, but my child, no.
I feel you. That's somebody who's trying to take complete control of everything. If I could take away your
You can have all the
home,
material stuff, but so
and then I can take away your child. And somebody look at you like I'm trying to control, you know.
To be unfaithful ever again.
She knew that I was never going to leave her, and she knew that she was never going to cheat again. So
how you know she knew that?
And how do you know she'll never cheat again?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the my bad.
That I was never going to leave her, and she knew that she was never going to cheat again. So she said, "Hey, look, I'll prove it to you."
But then problems emerged in the marriage again. Eric had insisted that Joyce stop seeing psychics after one had supported her choice to have the affair. Eric depicted Joyce's affinity for psychic readings as similar to a substance addiction, like alcoholism.
Do you believe that's a fair example of an alcoholic who relapses and drinks when you talk about Joyce and psychics?
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's a name for that condition or just an obsession, but yeah, it's like it's a slippery slope.
After the affair, she agreed to stop receiving readings, but in December of that year, a month before John's murder, Joyce again reached out to a psychic. The prosecution alleged this was a breach in trust that showed the marriage had not healed as Eric claimed. It was also an example of how he continued to try to control his wife.
I was done with psychics, and then I come to find out that she was seeking another one.
So you still didn't trust your wife in December of 2021?
During that psychic incident, yes.
Eric also testified to his movements on the night in question, accounting for the footage capturing his truck leaving the driveway at 5:20 p.m. and then again at just before 10. He testified that on the first trip, he was dumping construction materials, a small load of bricks, at the Waimanalo Convenience Center. The second trip was to the shop to purchase a handful of food items. He paid in cash. There was no video surveillance, receipts, transactions, or witnesses who could verify Eric's alibi. In fact, the prosecution called Rocky Javier, a security guard at the dump. Rocky was working on that night and testified that he's never seen Eric Thompson before. He added that the bricks Eric says he dumped would not be allowed at the site. They were prohibited items. Nonetheless, he doesn't keep track of every person that comes through or inspect every load. It is not possible to be that thorough when the site is busy. Footage of Eric's Silverado also shows an empty truck bed when leaving the drive at 5:20. There are no bricks visible. Of the flames emanating from his backyard for a span of 5 minutes that night, Eric said these were caused by tiki torches. He often lights these in the back when he takes his daughter outside to play in the evenings. The defense called its own fire expert who testified that the flames captured in the neighbor's camera could very well have been from tiki torches. Eric explained that he used the bucket and wheelbarrow to melt metal for work projects. It was not only the video footage that was called into question. A defense DNA expert testified that the...
Can we see him get up and walk?
Right.
He walked like an old Asian man.
What about, like, could you, like, tell what he has on? Like, the shoes,
Well, the footage is already grainy.
Yeah, it is. But I was like, could y'all tell anything? But,
the similarities in the testing from the bucket-style hat could in fact not be a match to Eric Thompson at all. With the gaps in the footage of the Silverado and the weakness of the DNA testing, Eric's attorney was able to argue that the state had failed to place him at the crime scene. Furthermore, investigators needed to make multiple adjustments to the timestamps recorded on the various security cameras collected from businesses across Waipahu to align to real time. This was necessary to piece together the movements of the Silverado and link that vehicle to the unknown man. That process proved complicated. Upon Eric's arrest, the evidence stated that the man in the bucket hat, believed to be Eric, entered the clinic at about 6:16 p.m. and remained there for 48 seconds, during which time John was struck with 4 gunshots to the head. But the same arrest affidavit states that John's phone was then unlocked at 6:18 p.m., 2 minutes later.
Okay, he could still have been alive at the time, was trying to get the phone to call the police.
He entered so I still gotta, like, where exactly was he at when y'all found his body? Because I still gotta, like, walk through. I don't know how big the clinic is, but I still gotta kind of. And you know, sometimes maybe the time on one camera is one time, but then I don't know.
But for sure,
Aspects of the timeline were not exactly lining up.
Cause it was just a 22. He could have still been alive and ended up dying.
But also, regardless of the fact that the time, I feel like the time is a little different or a little off. Either way it goes, someone still went in there at that time, did that, and came out 40 some seconds later, and the phone was still unlocked. So regardless of the fact, it's still, I don't know. You can press button.
I agree.
Can he be here by the door, there walking along by the stepping stones, okay, there in a truck, all in roughly the same time period? They needed to come up here and explain it all to you. They have not done so.
The cell phone data also showed...
Also, the timestamps don't 100% be right because everybody ain't setting their shit up correctly.
I said that, yeah. I said time zone, like, the cameras may be, like, different than the time on the phone or on your watch or whatever the case may be.
His argument, I just don't...
But We'll see.
That John's game of Pokemon Go appeared to be active for hours after the time of death theorized by the state. They posited that the application closed when the phone ran out of battery. But if it was instead turned off, then John must have still been alive after 8 p.m.
That it got turned off.
It's possible.
What do you mean it's possible? Why is it not possible?
I just said it's possible.
Joyce Thompson, protected by spousal privilege, did not testify. While the defense spoke about what they called John Tokuhara's secret life, prosecutors spoke about Eric's deceitfulness and lies.
He was dishonest about the status of his relationship, and he was dishonest about his whereabouts on January 12th, 2022. Because the truth is that he still harbored ill intent towards John Tokuhara.
The jury deliberated for 3 full days, after which they returned deadlocked. Judge Paul Wong declared a mistrial.
Damn. 9
jurors had voted guilty. 3 believed that he should be acquitted.
I feel like a lot of it was, I suppose, not concrete evidence. And they wanted that concrete evidence, something tangible.
It was hard, really hard to get.
I guess the evidence they probably wanted was, do you have the murder weapon? He could have disposed of that. He got a hell of guns. Could have disposed the actual murder weapon. What could he have been burning in that backyard, though?
I don't know. He said he wasn't burning anything.
Man, motherfucker was burning
but he
something.
Said when he does, but he said when he does burn things, it's metal.
So his ass know how to melt metal. Me, I don't know how to melt metal. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't know how to. He could have disposed of the fucking gun. And then took it somewhere. Because right after you did that, you left.
And I guess they don't have concrete evidence. You can't tell who it is on the camera. You don't have the actual license plate to be able to match. You can't see that. He parked the car away. You don't really have like camera footage. It's kind of gappy because it's not everywhere. It's just like here, like here, there. So it's not like that perfect timeline for you to really piece everything together.
I need to upgrade y'all. It was 2022. There's no way you shouldn't have clear camera.
Yeah, and the only like motive that you have is the fact that he was
had an affair.
He was
the wife now.
But I guess they was like, that's not enough, because not only was it just his wife, it was other men's wives as well, but they've testified and said, well, I definitely didn't have anything. I done moved on. I don't care, So yeah.
But the thing is, he never moved on though.
Yeah.
Like he still hold that shit on his wife.
Yeah.
And the reason why she go to the psychic, they keep telling her, because nigga, you ain't shit. They picking up on the energies and the frequencies. You ain't shit. They telling her to leave this motherfucker.
Get everybody on board for one decision.
I think the biggest lesson from this is that first impressions by the media, especially with prosecutors.
You can't use the media because they can't even tap into the media. I hate when people be trying to manipulate the system like this,
Press releases do not tell the whole story. In this case, the jury was able to see what actually happened and the real story. And we look forward to presenting that again in a second trial.
There's just always going to be bumps along the road, and but we're expecting in the next trial to see what evidence comes out, and I think we'll have a better result next time.
A second trial was initially scheduled for October 2023, though it never took place. At the time of publication, there is no available date for retrial.
What? That's all I get.
That was the case of John Tokuhara and Eric and Joyce Thompson. Thank you once again for joining me, and a special thanks to True Crime with Stephanie Michelle for joining our Members Lounge. I'm going to make sure to go and check out your channel later tonight. For now, I'm Kevin. This is Just Thought Lounge, and I'll see you in the next one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So this was published 7 months ago. He just went back to trial.
Yeah.
I want to say he went back to trial probably this year.
Yeah,
earlier
it
this
looks
year.
So, yeah.
And so from the second trial, we go to Hawaii News now. A jury finds Eric Thompson guilty in second love triangle murder trial. Jury deliberations ended Tuesday with the verdict in the murder trial of Eric Thompson, the East Honolulu. He is constructed.
Yeah, that's how he said he knew how to.
That's how he was able to get rid of. He was accused of murdering John in 2022 after discovering he was having an affair with his wife. Thompson first trial.
That's just a repeat of everything else. So.
Shortly after the verdict was read, the state's motion to revoke bail was granted, and Thompson was taken into custody. Woo woo! Both sides returned to court Wednesday morning to determine whether Thompson should receive an extended sentence. Murder in second degree has a life term in prison. I didn't understand why it was second degree murder though. To be real,
yeah, that's the only thing I didn't understand because I'm like that was definitely planned and calculated and definitely premeditated. But yeah, that's the only thing I didn't understand.
Yeah.
Let me see something.
What you trying to see? Maybe I could look it up for you. What you need to look up something? Google? No. We got Google right here. Like being on phone, y'all.
You said I like to be on my phone.
Just like I do.
No. Oh, I gotta sneeze. I'm sorry.
There you go.
Thank you. But
what you were trying to look up?
I was just trying to see like why was it second degree and how they like handle like first degree in Hawaii. But I that's the only thing I didn't understand is why it wasn't first degree. But
yeah, he's been convicted. He hasn't been sentenced yet. But it was him.
But
it was him though. It's fucked up.
Very much so.
And like you, at the end of the day, the only person you can blame is your wife. You can't necessarily even blame him. Yeah. Because your wife, she took those vows, not him. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That's the reason why so many other men's like, I left. Yeah. Like, what is there to? But I also feel like his lawyer did that to show why we ain't considering these other guys as possible. And they had the same. If you want to use that as the motive of the affair, he's had affairs with these same guys. I think he was trying to use that.
But like the other man said, I done remarried. I'm good. My main focus is my kids. And then also you put him on, on the stand after these two, right? From just how it seemed, and you trying to use that same like. My anger was towards or whatever. Like my issue was towards my wife.
But if you notice, the other ones kind of, you know what I'm saying, moved on from her.
Yeah. You
the one that said, if you cheat on me again, I'm taking the house, I'm taking the keys, I'm taking all this shit. And you ain't, and I'm making you apologize to your
parents.
Control. He wanted to establish more control in the relationship. And she's timid and scared. Maybe this is her breaking point to be able to escape.
And he won't let her see her psychics. He said you gotta cut them off too.
Anyway.
You said what?
Said she'll need to be sent. And the only reason why he don't want them to see the psychic, her to see the psychic, because they keep telling her to leave his ass.
Yeah.
That's the real reason. Like,
but
because if they were saying anything to stroke her ego for him, you know what I'm saying? He'll be all down for it.
But rest in peace to John.
Toku. I like that though. You don't like it?
Yeah.
She said, I'm not naming my kid that. And I'm nickname cool though. She's like, nope.
I mean, so whatever.
Hey man, y'all spend what's up in the comments, man. Y'all let us know y'all thoughts and opinions about it for us in the comment section down below. But until next time, y'all know how it go, man. I do go by the name DJ New Kid. This is
Sierra Nicole.
We are.
We
are.
Time to kick it, got a stack of flip for my folks. Dollar.